Good afternoon, everybody. Happy New Year as we get ready for our fourth race of the fifth season of the NNSCRA Duracell Cup Series at the oldest track surface on the racing schedule. This is the Atlanta Motor Speedway. It is going to be the second time we'll see the primary drivers for the respective teams, as well as a debuting team here today, getting set for 98 laps of racing at this D-shaped mile-and-a-half racetrack. 3 races in the books, and already we're starting to get a pretty good idea of drivers starting to make cases for themselves, or teams starting to make cases for themselves to be in this season's playoffs, but the schedule is still young, and a lot can still happen during the course of this regular season leading up to the playoffs. The most recent race winner last week, I have to apologize. Last time out, I kept calling Roberto Crown Jr. It's actually just Robert Crown Jr., but he picked up his first career Duracell Cup Series victory at Las Vegas 2 weeks ago, that is, as we were off for Christmas. And that has positioned the number 77 team now up inside of the top 10 in the point standings. Of course, that win would lock them into a playoff spot should the regular season come to a close at this point in time, but that is not the case. What has Atlanta got in store for us here today? We're moments away from finding out. Let's take a look here at your point standings coming into this race. And the story is very interesting all the way from the top 10 down to drivers outside of the top 20. Here's the drivers right now that are sitting pretty. Of course, Matt Haas with his win at Daytona. William Micros with his win at Manassas, and just recently Robert Crown Jr. with his win at Las Vegas. They all have winner stickers in their respective columns for their teams, the Haas Racing, KB Racing Enterprises, and Auto Junction Racing entries. So they right now would hold the first, second, and third seed, but the drivers right now, they're up here inside the top 10 without a victory. They would currently be sitting in playoff positions as well. The 55 team out of Gunther Motorsports, the 1 team out of Michael Norton Motorsports, also the championship team from last season, the number 19 team out of Pigeon Racing, all the way down to the 21. Right now, those are your 10 playoff spots should the season have come to a close after Las Vegas last week. But then take a look here at the rest of the drivers that are looking into the top 10 in points. Just on the outside, you got the 99 team out of Shido Cult Racing, the 39 team, the second entry out of KB Racing Enterprises, and some other teams that were really way down there in points actually had some good performances last week and have moved their way up there, including the 2 team, the 65 team, and the 48 team. These are teams that were outside the top 20 last week. Now they're up inside the top 20 coming into today's race. Here's the drivers that are struggling, the teams that are struggling. They need good performances here today. I think maybe the one that stands out the most to me is that 38 team out of Blue Oval Automotive. That, of course, was a championship team with Jordan Lopez back in Season 3. And right now they find themselves down deep in the cellar of the points. We'll see if here today Trey Wright can get that team pointed in the right direction. TCW Racing still, they're looking for a good finish here this season. They've struggled in the first 3 races with Cole Baker, Tristan Allen, and Will Goss. It'll be Baker taking the reins here today in this one. Without further ado, though, let's go down trackside for pre-race ceremonies and begin things with today's national anthem. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting
Drivers, start your engines.
All four of our previous Atlanta winners in the field here today, as Phil Parker is going to be starting from the pole position in this one, alongside of Cody Lamas and his Chevrolet. Jesse Turner, the inaugural Atlanta winner, will be rolling off from the third position, and the debuting Cody Smart, the third entry out of Evans Gardner Motorsports, is going to be rolling off from the outside of row number 2. Carson Gum will make up row number 3 with the Season 3 winner here at Atlanta, Carter Friesen. Andrew Lemke and Pedro Lucas, they make up row 4 with Amanda Evans and Trey Wright completing the top 10. Levi McIntyre and Charles Sanford, they're going to make up row number 6. Michael Wayne Robinson and Patrick Smith in row number 7. Row 8 finds Kyle Matthews and Austin LaPlante. Row 9, Cole Baker and Benny Watson. Jack Mitchell in 19th with Dylan Pote completing the top 20. James Qualls will be 21st, 22nd Keith Batson, 23rd Ryan Butcher. Nick Gunther makes the outside of row 12. Matt Haas, our Daytona 500 winner, in 25th alongside Joshua Osborne. And then Tim Walsh and the defending Atlanta winner Dylan Young make up the 14th and final row. Carson Gum, I mentioned him in the lineup. He is the Season 2 winner here at Atlanta, rolling off from 5th position. Here we go, 98 laps of racing from the Atlanta Motor Speedway. The first race in 2022 is green. Let's roll. And we're already 3 wide at Atlanta. That is Jesse Turner up the inside, putting his teammate Phil Parker high, wide, and handsome. Got a car heading for the grass, car in the wall, and they're spinning on the front straightaway. That's James Qualls around. Jack Mitchell through the infield grass with Kyle Matthews. Ryan Butcher back there as well as Keith Batson, and I believe that was the 31 of Dylan Poteet. Cars scattering left and right to avoid the spinning situation, as we got another car in trouble over here in turn 1. That's Patrick Smith, as well as Austin LaPlante in the 48. Well, that didn't take long at all, did it? Michael Wayne Robinson in the 93's got some damage on the left side. Charles Sanford as well. As the pace car is going to pick up the race leader, which I believe is going to be Jesse Turner. That's a lot of damage there on Austin LaPlante. Looks like he may have nailed the 77 of Patrick Smith. Got a couple of drivers staying out, Tim Walsh and Joshua Osborne, as a majority of the field going to come down pit road. What in the world happened there? I mean, I saw a car dart down to the infield grass. Charles Sanford went up and pounded the outside wall through the first crook of the front straightaway tri-oval. And then just everybody, I don't know if it was just everybody scattering and trying to merge back up into turn 1 that led to the follow-up wrecking over here into the first corner or not, but we've already got a bunch of torn up race cars that are going to be trying to ride out the rest of this race. And if you'll remember back to the Las Vegas race last week when we ended up having, or not last week, but 2 weeks ago. I'll keep on saying last week. It's the last race. You guys know what I'm talking about. But, we ended up having slower machines kind of holding up lead lap cars. So we might be seeing a scenario like that here today, because 98 laps, it's a pretty long distance for these guys. Let's go back, take a look and see what happened here. And we're going to start with the 17 of James Qualls, because it looked like he was the first car I saw sideways. I'm not necessarily certain that the incident started with him, but he was the first car out of shape. So we might get a good idea from his vantage point of at least where the initial contact came from. And it looks like it was Kyle Matthews and Michael Wayne Robinson. Watch them ahead of James Qualls. And, oh, yeah, Patrick Smith, Michael Wayne Robinson not giving each other a lot of room. Kyle Matthews making it 4 wide. You had Ryan Butcher get turned by Matt Haas back there as well, so kind of synchronized spinning back up the track. Qualls gets clipped. Mitchell nowhere to go. Sanford went up as wide as he could, knowing they were probably going to come back up the racetrack, and he got the wall. Benny Watson gets up into him. Mitchell comes down across the nose of Kyle Matthews. There's Dylan Poteet swept up in this. Tim Walsh going to get a little piece of damage there as he squeezes Nick Gunther into the outside wall. Batson back there, I think he just got spun around. I think that for the most part, at least for the drivers involved in this one, nobody got extensive damage. They might be okay. But I'm a little concerned about further up here with the Patrick Smith Austin Plant incident. Oh, it was actually Patrick Smith and Carter Friesen that got together, along with the 95 of Cody Smart. These guys had actually made it through the incident, and watch how Carter is going to stick his nose up the middle. I think Patrick Smith is going to push up the track just a little there, gets hooked in the right rear quarter panel. Cody Smart's got nowhere to go. And the Reese Chevrolet, he goes up on two wheels. And then with the high banking here at Atlanta, what is up is going to most certainly come back down, and nowhere for Austin LaPlante to go, as he is going to clobber Patrick Smith, and that just ripped the whole right front off of his Ally Banking Chevrolet Camaro. It looks like those two machines, the 48 and the 77, are going to be going back to the garage area early on in this one. The team out of Northeast Motorsports, 19th in the stands, and of course, Auto Junction Racing 77 went to victory lane 2 weeks ago with Robert Crown Jr., so they were up there inside the top 10 in points, did not need to have a bad performance here today. So a lot of drivers on pit road, a lot of them with extended stays on pit road, getting damage repaired, and it has put Benny Watson in the 32, 1 lap down. He'll be the only car on the inside line for this upcoming restart. Everybody else on the lead lap, with the exception of the aforementioned Patrick Smith and Austin LaPlante. They will finish 27th and 28th here today at Atlanta. Tim Walsh going to be the one to lead us back to green with Joshua Osborne in second. Those two electing not to pit here under this caution. Jesse Turner will line up in third with Amanda Evans and Trey Wright completing the top 5. Pedro Lucas, Levi McIntyre, Andrew Lemke, Cody Lamas, and Carson Gum. That's going to be the top 10 when we go back green flag racing. We'll see here if maybe a single file restart will allow us to see more green flag racing, because we see this a lot, especially at the mile-and-a-half tracks. When they are side-by-side, double wide, all the way through the field, the initial start of the race, there's always that anxiousness to take it 3 wide, take it 4 wide. That's what leads to our early wrecks. When we have the single-file restarts, then it takes a little bit longer for 3 and 4 wide formations to happen, and so we end up actually having drivers mind their manners a little bit more and start to see the green flag runs that mile-and-a-halfs are well known for, as Tim Walsh gets back up through the gears. Benny Watson off the pace there, and I think Jesse Turner may have brushed the wall there a little bit. That really stifled his restart and stacks everybody up behind him. And now it's going to be Benny Watson stacking everybody up. Well, this could certainly wad everybody up for 3 and 4 wide racing, so we may not be done with cautions. Watson trying to figure out where does he go. He's holding up Amanda Evans right now in the middle line. Top line trying to form there with Keith Batson and Matt Haas. They're all trying to figure out if they can go someplace where the 32 isn't. Oh, this is going to be a wreck. Someone's going to wreck here. And there it is. Matt Haas, Nick Gunther, Dylan Young. You just kind of knew. You just kind of knew the way that they were all not giving each other space. I believe the leader had already crossed the start-finish line, so these guys are all racing back to the caution. It will be Tim Walsh leading us back. Joshua Osborne following right behind him, so the call by both of those drivers for the track position over fuel, that's going to pay dividends, at least for the time being. Jesse Turner and Ryan Butcher racing back to the line for third place. Turner got it over Butcher. And then Trey Wright's going to cross in the 5th position. There's Dylan Young, there's Nick Gunther. Both of them involved in the incident. Cody Smart, I believe he got a piece of it again. A very tough debut for Cody Smart. Jack Mitchell and Matt Haas right there as well, I believe, were the other drivers collected up. But there was a 5-car incident. Let's go back and see what it was. They just got wadded up 3, and then I think there was a 4 wide for a brief moment there. And I kind of liken the tri-oval at Atlanta to the front straightaway at Daytona. Daytona, when you go into the corners, you can hold it 3 wide. You can even attempt 4 wide, but it narrows up when you get to the front straightaway. It's the same here for Atlanta because it's not a straightaway. You're turning left almost constantly, making your way through the first portion here of the D-shaped front stretch and then the second portion past the start-finish line. And it is so difficult, even in a 3-wide formation, to make sure that you're holding your line because there are so many different entries and exits from one portion of the tri-oval to the other. A lot of moving parts, and so you have to make sure that contact isn't made and that no two cars are going to be in the same place at the same time. It's very difficult at a track like this, as well as the other D-shaped mile and a halves like Charlotte and Texas. So Nick Gunther, Dylan Young, with more damage to their machines. Of course, Dylan Young, as mentioned, the defending winner of this race 1 year ago. And I believe we did have some drivers hit pit lane as well, including race leaders Tim Walsh and Joshua Osborne. Ryan Butcher is about to come down pit lane, it looks like here, as he's low on the racetrack, giving up the race lead. Well, nope, looks like he's actually going to stay out. Not certain what was going on there. So he's going to actually be the one to inherit the lead when we go back green. Levi McIntyre looks like he'll be lining up second. Cody Lamas, Joshua Osborne, and Amanda Evans, rather. They're going to be the top 5. Tim Walsh, Dylan Pote, Trey Wright, James Qualls, and Kyle Matthews right now scored inside of the top 10. Benny Watson's still a lap down. He was on the tail end of the lead lap just before hitting pit road. Nick Gunther had an extended stay on pit lane, but he's returned back to the track, and he is still on the lead lap. So we're going to have a total of 26 cars still running, 25 on the lead lap when we go back green. And unfortunately, we're going to have the slower machine of Benny Watson there again on the inside line. So hopefully, either he does a better job of being able to get out of everybody's way, or everybody does a better job of getting around him. Only 10 laps in, already working our second caution of the day. Let's find out where the rest of our former winners are currently running. Highest one would be, I believe, Carson Gum, who is right now scored in the 12th position. Carter Friesen is back in 19th, Dylan Young in 21st. And Jesse Turner right now is all the way back in the 23rd position in the 47 car. And I believe the reason for that is when they came back to the start-finish line racing for third place, himself and Ryan Butcher made some contact going into turn 1, which I think put Turner up into the wall just a little bit, and so they were working on the right side of his 47. Ryan Butcher is going to be the one to lead us back to green, so apparently he did not get any damage out of that exchange. Well, Ryan Butcher, of course, started out the season with the win in the Clash at Bowman Gray. And then last week, rookie Robert Crown Jr. picking up his first career win at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. So far, it's been pretty good for Auto Junction Racing. The 77 team out of the race here today, so they will probably fall outside the top 10 in the point standings. They were 8th in points coming into this one. 78 team, though, the second entry out of AJR, they are 18th in points. And so they need a good run here today to get themselves closer to the top 10 in the stands. Of course, a win would certainly help them in trying to lock themselves into the playoffs as well. Into the restart zone they go. Ryan Butcher, the control car, as the green flag flies once again. And if these guys can keep themselves single file, they should be able to get around Benny Watson fairly easily, but they're not going to do that. Tim Walsh kind of getting shoved there by Dylan Pote. If Watson can go up top, I think they can all get around him. But he's going to wad them all up. Now they're all going to start to get to the inside, but they're 3 wide back there. They got to stay double wide coming through the tri-oval area. Oh, man, this is not good. This is not good again. Got a car in the wall. That was Benny Watson. They shunted him into the wall to get through, and they're still going to wreck, though. Michael Wayne Robinson, Keith Batson, Nick Gunther, and Andrew Lemke. Well, somebody was not pleased with Benny Watson being in the way. They put him up into the wall, and I thought maybe that was going to get us into a green flag run, but they were 3 wide, 2 rows deep behind, and Levi McIntyre is going to lead us back to the caution. It's kind of same song, second verses. Ooh, little contact there between Cody Lummis and Amanda Evans coming back to the start-finish line in that battle for third place. And some of those hits were pretty hard. Nick Gunther had a lot of contact made on his 55. And Michael Wayne Robinson, his car looked pretty beat up as well. He had both, I believe, of the KB Racing Enterprises cars involved in that one. And it's going to make the caution fly for the third time today. Well, that's the one problem with the old track surface of Atlanta as well that we really haven't talked about, and that's the slipping and sliding around. I don't know if you've been noticing here, we haven't had very many green flag laps to really observe, but it is very difficult for drivers carrying that much speed in the corner to be able to hold their line without it slipping up about a half groove, almost a full groove higher than where they entered, because there is no grip available to these drivers. The sun's been beaten down here in Hampton, Georgia, and this track surface is extremely slick for these Goodyears, and that's why you see everybody taking the opportunity here under caution, come down, put on some fresh rubber. Well, a couple of drivers not electing to put on tires. Levi McIntyre appears just to be going gas and go. Gets held up there behind Cody Smart, and that's actually going to allow Tim Walsh, I think, to win the battle off of pit road. And he will be the one to lead us back to green, as all of the lead lap cars came down under this yellow. Let's go back and take a look at what happened to bring out the third caution of the day. Looks like they've beaten the hood down on the Square D Chevrolet of Nick Gunther to try and keep him going. He's been involved in at least 2 of the cautions here today. Maybe he's a perfect 3 for 3. I don't rightly remember. Oh, he got hooked by Keith Batson in the right rear quarter panel. Andrew Lemke also was squeezed up into the wall there, and nowhere for Keith Batson or Michael Wayne Robinson to be able to go. Let's take another look here from an aerial view just to show how difficult it is to maneuver through the tri-oval. Watch this here. Watch Nick Gunther in the 55. As he's letting his car ride up off the corner, Keith Batson had the wider exit, so he was able to point his car more straight heading into the first crook of the tri-oval. And like I said, it's a case usually here in this portion of the racetrack of one driver having one exit, another driver having another exit, and both drivers finding themselves in the exact same space at the exact same time. That's what leads to a lot of the contact there. Kind of curious to find out who it was that was finally sick and tired of Benny Watson and kind of punted him out of the way. Let's see if it was possibly Phil Parker in the 74. Dylan Poteet in the 31. Oh, actually, it was Poteet. Poteet hooks the 32, sends him down to Pedro Lucas. That's a teammate, by the way, hooking another teammate. Both Poteet and Benny Watson out of Pigeon Racing. So even teammates can get frustrated with each other when they're getting held up, as shown right there. And there's the wreck back there that brought out the caution. So third yellow flag of the day. The unfortunate thing is, in terms of the lap car of Benny Watson, he is going to continue to be on the inside line for restarts as a lap machine until we get to 10 to go, and that is a long ways off. But maybe Benny Watson got the message there, but he got put up into the wall. Hey, get out of our way. So we'll see. We'll see if the message has been sent. Nobody out of the race, though, after that last incident, so we still sit at 26 drivers running 25 on the lead lap. Only 2 drivers out of the race. If you're just joining us, Patrick Smith and Austin LaPlante. After the first caution of the day, they are going to be finishing out today's Atlanta race in 27th and 28th position. If I'm not mistaken, I believe that next week we're going to be heading to another racetrack, which will be slick, which will be hot, because we're heading to the West Coast. We're going to ISM, or Phoenix Raceway, whichever you want to call it. Should be a good one there next Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It'll be the second time that the secondary drivers will be racing here in the 5th season of the Duracell Cup Series. Well, let's try it again. Third time that the restart zone will get us back underway here. Legend Racing's Tim Walsh up through the gears, leading us back to the green flag. Levi McIntyre in second, Cole Baker into third, and a couple of drivers jumping up there to the top to get around Benny Watson. 3 wide behind with Kyle Matthews in the middle. Let's see if they can make their way through here. I think if they can at least just get through the tri-oval, not 3 wide, they're going to be fine. Oh, Watson wanted to go to the top, but Matt Haas didn't let him. Can we get through here? Can they give enough room? Come on, guys. You could do it. Looks like they did it. Looks like they've done it. They got through the first crook anyway. Can they get through the second one? Oh, contact made. Trey Wright into Benny Watson. They're good. They're 4 wide, though. That's not nice. That's not good. Michael Wayne Robinson got into Poteet's left rear quarter panel, and we're good. Breathe a sigh of relief, everyone. Everyone, a collective sigh of relief. We got through it. Oh, my goodness. Levi McIntyre now going to put the pressure on Tim Walsh, and now we've got a race. Now we can finally start to see who's got the short run car, who's got the long run car. And the field's kind of spread out, so it shouldn't be that much of a problem when and if they encounter Benny Watson again. But now we've got these little battles going on, about 5 drivers up in this lead group, from Levi McIntyre back to Cole Baker. And then you've got a couple of stragglers in 6th, 7th, and 8th. Jesse Turner, Charles Sanford, and Carson Gum. And a good battle just inside of the top 10 there. Ryan Butcher in 9th, Dylan Young, and Joshua Osborne in a battle for the 10th position. So apparently that right side damage that Dylan Young had earlier on has not affected him. That car is still very much so up to speed. Carson Gum making the pass on Charles Sanford. That's going to be for 7th place. And up at the front, Phil Parker, the pole sitter, trying to go coast to coast as he's gone back to the front. Little contact there between Levi McIntyre and Tim Walsh as they're battling for the runner-up spot. Walsh trying to get the side draft in the left rear quarter panel. Levi McIntyre, he'll get alongside him here in 3 and 4. And if these guys continue to race side by side, that's going to allow 6th place on back to catch up. My goodness, Tim Walsh, Levi McIntyre using each other up. I don't know if Andy's fries and 5-hour energy make a good combination, but oh, we got a big wreck. Someone slammed the wall back there. There was Jesse Turner in the 47. He got hit by Pedro Lucas, and here come more. Lemke, Friesen, and Batson come flying in. Hard hits in turn 1. As the caution's going to wave for the 4th time today. Phil Parker leads us back to the yellow flag as the inaugural Atlanta winner, Jesse Turner, the Season 3 Atlanta winner, Carter Friesen, were amongst those collected up in that one. It started with the 47, who was battling at the time with either Dylan Young or was it Ryan Butcher, I think? They were back in that area. Turner was 6th last time we looked. So this was up inside of the top 10. And that is day over for Jesse Turner. Probably for Keith Batson, Carter Friesen, and Andrew Lemke. Pedro Lucas more than likely as well. Coming down pit lane here. Everybody taking advantage of these cautions so they don't have to worry about coming to pit road under green flag conditions any more than they have to. Let's go back and see what happened. Phil Parker may be leading this race, but he's more than likely as well going to be the only Lake Effect Autosport car to finish out today's event. As Jesse Turner Oh, it was Carson Gum that he got into. Let's take a look at this one. Try and figure out who is at fault as Turner appears. Oh man, that camera angle tells you nothing. Did Turner come down? Did Carson come up? Was it just one of those cases of both drivers wanting the same piece of real estate? Look at the hit there. I think Turner's engine expired as soon as he hit that wall. That was a heavy impact. Oh, Lucas is trying to turn his car as hard as he can. He could not do it. And watch this. Oh my goodness. Look out. Pick a lane. Hope that the 47 isn't there. There's Lemke. There's Friesen. And there's Keith Batson. What a debut for Cody Smart, involved in 2 of the first 3 cautions, and then right there, just barely getting through the water's part for him. Nick Gunther's very lucky that he came in as late as he did as well, or he might have been collected up in this one. Taking on board with Cody Smart. Watch this from the viewpoint of the Reese Chevrolet. Water's parted. Man. Well, Cody Smart keeps his hopes alive to at least maybe have a decent finish here today at Atlanta. And the garage area continuing to pile up here with machines. As Patrick Smith and Austin LaPlante now joined by Lucas, Batson, Friesen, Lemke, and Turner. So there are only 2 of our former Atlanta winners that are in the field still. That being Carson Gum and Dylan Young. Carson Gum's going to be restarting. Looks like back in the 16th position. Dylan Young, see right there, going to be starting just behind Ryan Butcher in the 2nd position. Let's give you a full field rundown of where everybody is currently scored, as we are now a little more than a quarter of the way through this race. Ryan Butcher's your race leader. Dylan Young in 2nd. Cody Lamas 3rd. James Qualls now up to 4th. Trey Wright in 5th. 6th is Joshua Osborne. Dylan Poteet 7th. Amanda Evans in 8th. 9th, Phil Parker, and Tim Walsh completes the top 10. Cole Baker's 11th. Levi McIntyre 12th. 13th going to be Matt Haas. 14th, Charles Sanford. 15th, Nick Gunther. 16th, Carson Gum. 17th, Jack Mitchell. 18th, Kyle Matthews. 19th is Cody Smart. And Michael Wayne Robinson completes the top 20. He is the last car on the lead lap. Benny Watson in 21st is the only car 1 lap down. And again, I can understand the frustration of the drivers, the fact that 32 is still out there and he has been holding people up on these restarts, but that car is still running. You have an obligation to your team, to your teammates, your fellow drivers that are going to be piloting your race car in the next 2 weeks as well, to get as many points as you possibly can. The 32 team comes into this race 24th in the point standings out of 27 drivers. And so therefore, they definitely need every point they can possibly get. And so if that engine's still running, you can go out there and still turn laps. You are, I don't want to say contractually obligated, but you're certainly obligated in a sense as a team player to go out there and log every lap, try and get every point that you possibly can, because who knows, we might look further on down the road at this 32 team just barely make it into the playoffs, and we could look back here at this strategy at Atlanta as possibly a deciding factor into whether they were able to battle for the championship or not. Ryan Butcher gets us back under the green flag here on lap 28. And Dylan Young wants the race lead right away, going into turn 1. Looks like Benny Watson's been relegated up to the top side now. And I think we might actually be able to all get through 3 and 4 safely here and onto the front straightaway. Well, as soon as I say that, I think Gunther was a little out of shape. Looks good, looks good, looks good. I think we're going to be okay. We'll go back up to the front as teammates will battle for second. Look at the Fords all of a sudden. 1, 2, 3, 4. Young, Osborne, Qualls, and Parker A little contact can be exchanged there between Phil Parker and James Qualls for third place. Joshua Osborne looking low on Dylan Young. Young trying to pinch him down. Osborne having none of. I think the caution may be out. And it is. Yellow flag is waving. Don't know who for or where. Looking for smoke, looking for skid marks. I'm not seeing anything. Oh, Phil Parker! Got up into Dylan Young. Oh, that was close. Woo, boy. That was Dylan Poteet, I believe, right there I just saw. And Levi McIntyre, so they got together. Levi's got some left side damage. Again, I don't see any smoke anywhere. Some skid marks there in turn 3, but I don't know if that was where the incident was or if that's from an earlier incident. As I believe Dylan Young is the race leader. I don't know why he's not catching up to the pace car. He's going to get penalized if he doesn't, or if he doesn't get penalized, the 27 is going to be penalized. Well, Dylan Young's coming pit road, so hopefully NNSCRA officials take into consideration the fact that the two did not come up and take his spot. You see Joshua Osborne giving it at least more than the car length space back to the pace car, so he shouldn't be black flagged. Handful of drivers going to stay out. Let's go back and see what happened, because I did not see any smoke or any indication that we were under the yellow until I saw the caution lights on over in turn 3. These guys were battling for around the 10th position. Nobody really around them. Space in front, space behind. Oh, a little bit of door banging there, a little bit of leaning on each other. And the two swing around and are facing the wrong way on the top side of turn 3. I think we're going to need a couple changes of underwear for drivers here today. Cody Smart, the earlier incident, and how about Matt Haas in this one? I mean, he was, I think it's even more, less than inches. What's less than an inch? Is a centimeter less than an inch? Because I think if that's the case, then he was centimeters away from being involved in this one. Watch this. Woo! Carson Gum completing the pass there as they raced back to the caution. My goodness. We've had some close shaves in this one. And amazingly enough, after everything we've seen, we still have 21 of our original 28 drivers still out there on the racetrack. That's, I think, the incredible thing. We've seen some pretty good shots taken here today in these wrecks. So Joshua Osborne elected to stay out. I believe that the top 10 drivers, no, the top 9 drivers did not come to pit lane. Actually, it'd be the top 8 drivers did not come to pit road under this caution. Osborne, Cole Baker, Carson Gum, Matt Haas, Cody Smart, Michael Wayne Robinson, Nick Gunther, and Charles Sanford. So they're going to be the top 8. Tim Walsh was the first one down pit lane. He's going to restart in 9th. And Dylan Poteet is going to complete the top 10. Lap leaders so far here today. Tim Walsh is the only one to have hit double digits. He's led 10 laps so far in this one. 6 laps led by Ryan Butcher. 4 laps led by Phil Parker. Joshua Osborne's about to come around and complete his 3rd lap led. Jesse Turner led 3 laps, but he's back in the garage area. Levi McIntyre has also led 4 laps. 2 laps led by Dylan Young. And so far, those are the only drivers that have led laps here today in this one. Let's look at the situation of the drivers inside the top 5 in the point stand, or the top 5 in the running order, I should say, and where they are positioned in the point standings. 27 of Joshua Osborne leading this race. That team is 6th in the point standings right now. Cole Baker in 2nd place. We already documented it coming into this one. They are dead last in points, 27th. Carson Gum running in 3rd, the 19 team out of Pigeon Racing. They are 5th in the point standings. The 8 car with Matt Haas, they are the current points leaders, 6 points over KB Racing Enterprises, Michael Wayne Robinson, William Micros, and I just blanked out on who the other driver is. Andrew Davis. And then Cody Smart That team's not even on the board right now for points. They're getting their first points of the season here today with their debut. Again, as well, they're debuting here in the 4th race. Signups are still open. If you can formulate a team, have 3 drivers for it, you can make your debut as soon as next week at the ISM Raceway in Avondale, Arizona. Joshua Osborne going to lead us down here to get ready to take the green flag for what's going to be the 6th time today. It is our 5th restart here at Atlanta, and we are not even yet halfway in this race, folks. This is going to be a long one, apparently, if we continue to run under the caution flag. Well, we'll know if they make it past the lap machine because we'll see an early caution, but we're going to stay up here on these restarts in the battle for the race lead as Cole Baker putting the pressure on Joshua Osborne for the top spot. They're 3 wide back there around the lap car, so we may see the yellow flag waving sooner rather than later. Flagman up to that point didn't have the yellow flag out. Looks like they're all pointing in the right direction. Carson Gum, 3-man battle for the top spot. Gum, Baker, and Osborne. Toyota, Chevy, Ford. Toyota pushed out to the lead for the time being. But here comes the Toontown rewritten Camaro of Carson Gum, the defending champion. He's going to go to the point. Little contact between Cole Baker and Joshua Osborne off of turn 4. And now Tim Walsh going to move into the 3rd spot. Baker starting to fall back a little bit there. Matt Haas now putting the pressure on him. Charles Sanford right there as well. Charles Sanford doing the driving duties in the 0-3 here this week, so we do not have an Atlanta native in the field. The only Atlanta native, at least to my knowledge, in the Duracell Cup Series overall is Cole Deaver. And we're going to be seeing him in 2 more weeks. Baker took a look to the inside of Tim Walsh, nothing doing. Osborne, well, I was saying he was going to say he was putting the pressure on Carson Gum, but he's actually got Tim Walsh right up inside his bumper for 2nd place, and Walsh going to peer out of line going into turn 3. Osborne sees him, gives him the room. Walsh completes the pass, and Cole Baker going to follow in the tire tracks, will move into the 3rd spot. Things looking a bit spread out here, so fingers crossed. Hopefully I don't jinx it. We should be able to go into a bit of a long green flag run. And that brings up an interesting point here, is the fact that we've seen these drivers on pit road multiple times today, but every time it's been under caution. Slick track conditions, high banking off of turn 4, getting down onto a very slippery apron. It'll be very interesting to see how these drivers do in making potential pit stops under green flag conditions. Ooh, that was tight off of turn number 2. Tim Walsh trying to force Carson Gum up to give room to Cole Baker, who was peering to the inside, and there was nearly contact made between all 3 as you got Osborne running way up there on the racetrack. That's kind of no man's land, but straddling the seam up on the outside line, trying to reel in these guys, and ooh, contact between Carson Gum and Cole Baker. They keep it together, but that could have been bad, and I don't think Cole Baker was any too thrilled about that. Look how he started to move up there. Oh, he's not happy with Carson Gum. A little more contact exchange between those two. A couple of former Daytona 500 winners, and Cole Baker, probably the frustration there. Hey, I'm dead last in the point standings. Your team is 5th in points. Cut me a break. Remember, Carson Gum got into Jesse Turner earlier on, so he has had some contact exchange with a few drivers here today. Tim Walsh watching it all go down his rearview mirror, though, just enjoying it, as so far he's led the most laps today, about to complete his 12th lap, and the yellow flag is out for the 6th time today at Atlanta. They were just beginning to reel in, I believe, the 32 of Benny Watson, and it's Kyle Matthews. The Kings Island Chevrolet has taken a hard lick somewhere here on the track That is day done for the second entry out of S3 Motorsports. The question is, who did he make contact with? There's a lot of candidates back here with damage, but a lot of them having damage from earlier incidents. Again, don't see any smoke or anything, so I'm not certain where the incident was. As everybody's going to take the opportunity, no surprise here, under caution to come down pit road. What happened to Kyle Matthews to cause that much damage? Usually when you see a car smoking that much, there's usually another car somewhere that is smoking just as much, if not equally. And here it was. Jack Mitchell, Dylan Young getting into each other. Oh, and then Kyle Matthews runs into the back of Mitchell, who was coming back up the track. And a combination of that and into the outside wall, that must have hit the radiator or something, busted through the nose of the car. Wrong place, wrong time. For Kyle Matthews, it was Dylan Young and Jack Mitchell who initially got together in front of him in what was a battle at the time for around the 13th position. See if this gives us an angle or not. Yeah, I'm not sure if we're going to get a good look here. A little bit of the aftermath. Well, that outside wall, while there is a safer barrier up there, it doesn't seem to do much for protecting the race car and keeping it in the running of this event. Kyle Matthews' engine expired as soon as he hit it, and that happened earlier as well with Jesse Turner. As soon as he hit the outside wall, we saw black smoke erupting from underneath his Ford. Needless to say, that has sent Kyle Matthews back to the garage area, so he's going to finish, it looks like, in 21st here at Atlanta. 019 was on a good run as well. Good performances out of Stephen Pollard III and Caleb Fogler in the last couple of races, had them 7th in the point standings. And this DNF may see them outside of the top 10 in points when we get to ISM next week. I think it's safe to say, when I was calculating the points after Las Vegas, that race, at least so far this season, was where the moving and shaking happened the most, of drivers climbing up in the point stands and free-falling through the point standings. Now, granted, it's very early on in the seasons. Just about every race, maybe up until race 10, race 11, is going to have those huge momentum shifts. Things will start to settle out as we get further into this regular season. You'll see drivers and teams lose maybe 1, 2, 3 spots in the standings, or gain maybe 3 or 4 spots in the standings. It won't be on the grandiose scale as is happening right now, but a lot of teams that, leaving Daytona, were outside of the top 20. When I did the calculations after Las Vegas, they were up inside of the top 10 or up inside of the top 15. So there's been a lot of moving and shaking that's going on here, and that's why drivers, maybe why they're racing so aggressively here today at Atlanta, realizing that there's a lot at stake, a lot to gain, and equally a lot to lose in terms of positioning yourself later on in the season. You also have to remember, too, that there's an urgency for these guys to find victory lane. The fact that there's now 28 drivers each week that are going to be taking the green flag, and only 10 teams make it into the playoffs. And so the urgency to find victory lane, get that win, is even more so now because, 26 regular season races. I think it's pretty safe to say we're going to have more than 10 different cars, 10 different teams go to victory lane here. And so we're going to be seeing a scenario of teams that have victories not make it into the playoffs. So if you can get that one victory out of the way and then work on getting a second, work on getting a third, solidify your playoff position, and do that early on in the season, that takes the pressure off when you get to 3 races to go, 2 races to go. Wait, we don't have a victory. We need one to get into a playoff scenario. Puts a lot of pressure on a driver, and it's one more thing they have to think about on top of everything else that they're concentrating on when they put the helmet on and get behind the wheel. Well, we had ourselves the longest green flag run of the race last restart. Let's see if we can better that here as Cody Lamas brings us back to the green flag. Levi McIntyre second, Tim Walsh, Carson Gum, Dylan Young. That was the top 5. 20 drivers still running, 19 on the lead lap, and I just heard a wrecking back there. I think the caution's already out. No, it's not. They all kept it going. That was Osborne that went into the wall. Everyone was able to avoid the 27, and we are still under the green flag, incredibly enough. Dylan Young, I think, was the other car that got into Osborne, as he is off the pace. Look at the damage on that car. I thought there was a wreck. I heard the contact made into the outside wall. Thought for sure that a wreck was taking place, but nope, we are still green. And that is a lot of damage and a lot of speed lost by the defending winner of this race. Cody Lamas under fire from Carson Gum. The Michael Norman Motorsports entry. Currently 4th in the point standings. Michael Norman, Trent Dunham, as well as Cody Lamas have done really well in their first races of the season. Cody Lamas looking to keep that momentum going as Carson Gum goes back to the point. Cody has led 5 laps. Carson Gum's about to lead 6. Tim Walsh has led 13, and Levi McIntyre has led 4. So between those 4 drivers, they've led so far. Oh, whoa, Walsh and Lamas just went up into the wall. Boy, we're starting to see just the slickness of Atlanta playing with these drivers. But right now, the top 4 have led a total of 28 laps combined of the 49 that we've run. That little bit of contact in the wall for Lamas and Walsh, though, that's brought some new faces into the mix. As little contact between James Qualls and Amanda Evans. Now Trey Wright looking to the inside of Qualls. That's going to be the battle for, I believe, the 5th position. Walsh back to the inside of Levi McIntyre. These guys are using up their race cars. Door banging. Shunting each other out of the way. Look again, some more contact between Walsh and McIntyre. What do they hope to gain with making contact with another driver? I don't know. And Matt Haas, who has no back end, he's just been kind of taking advantage of the loss of momentum and the contact ahead of him. And he's picking his way through the field, trying in the first 2 races of the season to be a multi-time winner. First 2 races of the season for him, I should say, as a driver. Of course, 1 for 1 so far with the victory in the Daytona 500. Here comes Trey Wright in the 38 car. Mentioned the fact that the team that houses a former Daytona 500 winner in Trey Wright, a former champion in Jordan Lopez, and the most winningest driver in the Duracell Cup Series in Jose Mills, they find themselves 26th in points coming into this race. They need something to happen. And something happened now. Something just happened there. He almost got put down onto the apron into turn 1, courtesy of Carson Gum. Trey Wright says, nuh-uh-uh, kept his foot in the throttle, and looks like he's going to take the lead with help from fellow Blue Oval James Qualls, giving him the push down the back straightaway. Slow car I heard up ahead. Don't know how long it's going to be before we encounter it. I'm assuming that that's Benny Watson. It could be Dylan Young, though, as well, who is nursing a wounded car that got into the wall at the last restart after spinning the tires. As Qualls looks to go to the race lead, Phil Parker took a look 3 wide. Oh, give room here to 3 guys. Ooh, Qualls was trying to force Trey Wright up the track and almost into the wall. And we saw what happened earlier with McIntyre and Poti when that happened. Oh boy, it's not 1, it's 2 slow machines, Dylan Young and Benny Watson, that the leader's going to have to deal with. Oh, Matt Haas through the grass. Doing a little landscaping there in that Toyota Camry, but he kept it going. Oh boy, look out, this is not good. They're side by side, boxing in the leaders. Where do you go? Qualls looks the middle. That might actually work. It will. Charles Sanford wants to follow him, but he's not clear of Dylan Young. Phil Parker is going to make the second spot. Then Carson Gum, then Matt Haas. Sanford was trying to follow Qualls. Couldn't clear the two. Qualls picked the perfect line there through the front straightaway to be able to keep himself out in front. Parker in second. Carson Gum putting the pressure on him for that. Matt Haas right now in the third spot. Here comes Amanda Evans in the fifth position. She's got Ryan Butcher behind her. That 65 team, 17th in points coming into this race. They gained a ton of spots last week, or last race, with a good performance by Carson Grob. And now going to go by Matt Haas for fourth place. Butcher going to move into fifth. Phil Parker putting the pressure on James Qualls for the race lead. Phil Parker looking for his first career victory. Had the pole earlier on tonight. James Qualls looking for his first victory since Puka Cup back in, I think it was season 3 if I recall correctly. And Carson Gum. Oh, almost some contact there between himself and Qualls, as Parker is clear for the top spot. Look at Dylan Poteet up here in the 31 car. We saw him and Levi McIntyre get together earlier on in this race. Not enough damage to keep the 31 car out, as right now he's running in 7th. Trey Wright currently holds down 8th. Cole Baker right there in 9th with Charles Sanford. Don't count these guys out. These are a couple of guys that were wadded up behind Dylan Young and Benny Watson when they encountered the lap cars, but they have now recently drafted back up to the lead pack. Cody Lamas and Tim Walsh, don't count them out either. I think they've still got a shot to get back up in this lead group. Jack Mitchell and Levi McIntyre, though, I think they are still up to speed, but they had a little bit harder of a time getting around the slower cars as they run in 13th and 14th place. And then here's a battle for 15th going on. Nick Gunther, Michael Wayne Robinson in this mix, Joshua Osborne, and Cody Smart. I don't see damage on Osborne's machine, but I think that he was the one that was behind Dylan Young. Oh, there's the actually right side damage, so correction on that. He was the one behind Dylan Young when Young got into the wall on the last restart. That's why he's as far back as he is. There's Watson and Young. Young right now running 1 lap down 19th, 2 laps down in 20th for Benny Watson. And James Qualls back on the prowl, trying to take the race lead away from Phil Parker. I'm pretty certain that with the number of laps we had left when we went back green, I'm pretty certain that these guys cannot make it to the checkered flag on fuel. So at least one more trip to pit road is in the future of these drivers. And it may very well be what we like to call the money stop. Well, Phil Parker is trying to do two things here today. He is trying to, number one, get his first career win, but he's also trying to make Lake Effect Autosport the most winningest team at Atlanta Motor Speedway. As so far, Carter Friesen Motorsports, Pigeon Racing, Lake Effect Autosports, and Young Motorsports have 1 win apiece here at this 1.5 miles. Ooh, that was a slick move there by Dylan Poteet. Got past James Qualls, just barely cleared him off of turn number 4. And now Trey Wright goes to work on James Qualls. Might have been a little contact exchange there between the 38 and the 17. Did I just see the caution lights on? I think I did. We'll see if they go through 3, but I believe the yellow flag is out for the 7th time today. And it is. Caution flies. Poteet challenges Parker coming back to the line. He will not get the spot. Look out! Oh no! Phil Parker is up and over. After Poteet got into him, they were slowing because they had caught Cody Smart and Joshua Osborne, who I believe were the reason for the yellow flag. And the drivers who crossed the line first and second, just like that, I think their day is done. Parker's car looks like a late model now. What the heck happened there? The 95 and the 27 were so slow coming back to the start-finish line that when everybody else was trying to whoa up, they had so much speed coming back to take the caution. They tried to split them 3 wide, and I think that Parker got hooked in the right rear quarter panel. Let's go back and see what happened. No surprise, everybody's down pit road. I don't even know if they can make it the rest of the way at this point in time. It's still going to be 33 laps to go at this point in time, but we first got to look at the initial reason for the caution, but then the question I have is, the 95 and the 27, when they crossed the line, were they taking the caution? Were they taking their caution? Would they have had to line up behind the pace car? Because it looked like they were even slower than usual. The incident takes place here on the back straightaway heading into turn 3. This was a battle for 17th place between Cody Smart and Joshua Osborne. Looks very similar to what we saw happen earlier with Levi Macker and Dylan Pote, where the car on the inside just kind of crowded the car on the outside up into the outside wall, and then the two spin around. But we're going to stay on these guys. We'll put it back to real time, because watch this. This is in the middle of 3 and 4. Did they not have enough time to get up to speed? Woo, wow, Benny Watson nearly nailed Osborne's Hunt Brothers Pizza Ford Mustang. So here they're trying to get up to speed. There's the leaders coming into turn 3. Yeah, they're definitely going up through the gears. I mean, they're trying to get up to speed, but look at the speed difference as the leaders come back down here. Now watch this. They're all trying to slow, and oh, I think what happened there is they were side by side, Pote and Parker, and Phil thought he was going to run into the back of the car in front of him, which I think was Osborne. So he was turning low to make sure he didn't run them over, and Pote was still there. Pote hadn't backed out of the throttle yet. That is just an unfortunate series of events there. Let's go back and look again. I don't really think that either one, the 31 or the 74, did anything wrong. They were both just reacting to what was happening at the time. I mean, watch this. Pote holds his line. It does not look like he moves up at all. Phil's the one that moves down. Pote was clearly still there. Pote was directly alongside of Phil, so I'm not sure why Phil turned down there. Boy, it's a close call for Trey Wright in the 38. Well, actually, he had some contact, did Trey Wright. That was Amanda Evans making a little bit of contact with him, so a little curious about the damage on the right front of the 65 car. Again, it's so difficult with the way that Atlanta and any of the D-shaped mile-and-a-halfs are in the front straightaway to put the blame on one particular driver, but we're going to take the aerial look here just to get an idea as well of whether or not that would have been the fault of Phil Parker. So watch this. Does the 31 come up? Oh, wow. It's one of those gray areas. The aerial view shows that the 31, while he comes up, which is typical of a driver on the inside line, the 74 kind of points quicker, and both take the same piece of real estate. Boy, that is such a tough break there for Phil Parker, though, in the 74 car. Was looking like he was en route to possibly getting his first career victory. And a situation like that, of all things, takes him out of it. Dylan Pote as well was mounting a comeback after being involved in an earlier wreck. And those two are going to find themselves now, if not out of this race, certainly much more off the pace and just trying to salvage what they can. It would appear that both are going to continue. Pote is going to line up in the 15th position. Phil Parker, last car in the lead lap, in 18th. As Carson Gum gets us back under the green with officially 30 laps to go at Atlanta. Benny Watson, Dylan Young, 2 slow cars now that the leaders are going to have to deal with. Dylan Young 1 lap down, Benny Watson 2 laps down, as Ryan Butcher and Carson Gum will battle for the top position out of turn number 2. No doubt there's going to be a lot of slower machines to deal with now in this one. Watson, Dylan Young, and I'm pretty certain Phil Parker's car is not going to be up to speed, as he is out there with roof damage. And Ryan Butcher, did he lead that lap? It was close. Yes, he did. Top 4 going to break away as James Qualls and Cole Baker enter into the mix. Levi McIntyre, Cody Lamas all trying to make their way up to the lead group as they're still trying to get around the slower cars. Dylan Young right now is the moving chicane for these race leaders. Jack Mitchell paying a big price there, stuck behind his Hooters Ford Mustang. Car on the wall, and we got a wreck. Cody Lamas has been wrecked by Levi McIntyre. So we're racing back to our 8th yellow flag of the day, and that was a battle for 5th position, and we just had another one right there as James Qualls gets sent up the track by Carson Gum. And Ryan Butcher leads us back here to the yellow flag. Well, we didn't get to really see the initial contact, but we know where and who was involved. 5th position, Lamas and McIntyre. And I assume that it was McIntyre hooking Lamas, since Lamas was the one that was facing the wrong way. But then again, that might not necessarily be the situation. Let's go back, take a look, see what happened between those two. This was going into turn 1, so I'm assuming that some door banging came into play. Well, I know I sound like a broken record. I know I've said it a lot here tonight, but that looked like another gray area. Another gray area going into turn 1. And we'll settle the dispute. We'll go back and look from the aerial view, but at least from that camera shot, it looked like one came up, one came down. It's just the nature of this racetrack and this front straightaway. Here it is. You be the judge. Watch the lines there. They kind of help to gauge it. Well, now the aerial view is going to make a liar out of me. That was on the 1. Cody came up about a full groove on Levi McIntyre, who was holding his line. So while the 99 did indeed turn the 1, theoretically, the 1 of Cody Lamas turned himself off the nose of the 99. So caution out once again. And only a handful of drivers elected to come down pit road under this caution. Cole Baker, James Qualls, Joshua Osborne, Jack Mitchell, Trey Wright, and Tim Walsh all coming down pit lane, which makes me wonder, does that mean that we are now within the fuel window, that these drivers, from this point on, can make it to the checkered flag? Is pit road no longer a factor into the outcome of this race? Well, let's give you a full field rundown of the survivors here today at Atlanta as we are working our 8th caution of the day. 74th lap was just completed, but we have run 34 of those 74 laps under the yellow flag. Ryan Butcher is your race leader. Carson Gum is 2nd. Matt Haas 3rd. Dylan Poteet 4th. And Amanda Evans in 5th. Cody Smart right now is 6th. Nick Gunther 7th. Charles Sanford 8th. 9th is Phil Parker. And now it's updated to Michael Wayne Robinson completing the top 10. Levi McIntyre is in 11th. Cody Lamas 12th. Cole Baker 13th. James Qualls 14th. 15th Joshua Osborne. 16th Jack Mitchell. 17th Trey Wright. Tim Walsh runs in 18th, and he is the last car on the lead lap. 1 lap down in 19th is Dylan Young, and 2 laps down in 20th is Benny Watson. Drivers out of the race after the 8 yellow flags we've had here today. Kyle Matthews will finish 21st, Pedro Lucas in 22nd, Keith Batson 23rd, 24th Carter Friesen, 25th Andrew Lemke, 26th Jesse Turner, 27th Patrick Smith, and 28th will be Austin LaPlante. Of those drivers out of the race, I believe 5, if I am seeing this correctly, no, 4 of the drivers out of the race came into this race in teams that were up inside the top 10 in the point standings. So you think Atlanta's going to be a mover and shaker as far as what the playoffs landscape look like heading into next week at ISM? Certainly is looking that way. Lights out atop the pace car. 1 more lap to green. Hopefully, the final time that the green flag will have to wave here today. It'd be nice to see these guys race from this point on to the checkers, especially since we've gotten a pretty good indication now that these drivers should be able to make it the rest of the way on what they've got in the tank. So far here this season, Toyota holds the advantage in wins, 2 wins, with Robert Crown Jr. at Las Vegas, and of course Matt Haas in the Daytona 500. Ford has a victory with William Micros at Manassas. Chevrolet still looking to break into the winners column here in Season 5. There are 4, make that 5 Chevrolets up inside of the top 8 here for this upcoming restart. Green flag waves. Butcher up through the gears, leads Carson Gum and Matt Haas into turn number 1. Things going to get a little stacked up back there again with Dylan Young and Benny Watson off the pace. And we've got a wreck. One car is upside down. That's Dylan Young. Sliding down the back straightaway on his roof. Caution will wave once again. Levi McIntyre and Amanda Evans were also slow in the vicinity. Dylan Poteet there as well in the 31 car, as Carson Gum did get the lead back from Ryan Butcher there before they came around to the yellow flag. And I have a feeling that this was another case of driver frustration with the lap cars, the slower lap cars, holding everybody up. And if it was Dylan Poteet, that would be the second time today that Poteet has, in essence, shunted a car out of the way because it was slower. Well, might have gotten a little bit of help. Amanda Evans in the 65, going to get into Poteet's left rear quarter panel, turns him down into Dylan Young's right rear quarter panel, and, well, second blow flips the 2-car over. Wow, that's a hard hit to the back end for Amanda Evans. Look at Phil Parker just sneak his way through. Osborne just snuck through, and Levi McIntyre not so lucky. He got clipped in the right rear quarter panel. Well, I think that might very well be Dylan Young's day over. Not certain about Poteet. But I don't know if you guys have been keeping count. How many flips have we had now? It's got to be, what, 3? 3 flips, I think? My goodness. There's a lot of flips going on here today at Atlanta. And that means we're going to get another restart. No surprise, though. Nobody came to pit lane. So everybody going to line up where they were when they crossed the start-finish line to take that caution flag. A couple of drivers coming down pit road to get some damage repair done. Amanda Evans, Levi McIntyre, Dylan Poteet. Dylan Young, they have loaded his car up on the tow truck. Brought him back into the infield. His day is done. The defending winner of this race will finish in the 20th position. So there's only one driver now that has a shot of being a two-time winner here at Atlanta, and he's your race leader, Carson Gum. Took the checkered flag here at Atlanta back in Season 2. Jesse Turner, Carter Friesen, and Dylan Young are now out of this race. So, the odds are certainly in favor of a first-time Atlanta winner here today. But Carson Gum has the spot that everybody wants right now, as he'll look to be a multi-time winner here at this D-shaped mile-and-a-half racetrack. Of course, trying to make a statement here as well. Carson Gum coming into this season as the defending champion, and we see it a lot of times, not only here in the Duracell Cup Series, but we see it in a lot of offline leagues where a driver will win the championship, and then the following season, it's just like they can't buy a good finish. Call it the championship slump. Well, so far this year, that's not been the case for Carson Gum, Charles Belding, and Matthew Rodriguez. They've done a good job here in the first three races to find themselves as a team 5th in the overall standings. They are still looking for that victory, though, to put themselves firmly in the playoff picture, but consistency also very important to making sure that you're going to be able to eventually get yourself a victory further on down the road. And they've been able to do that so far. Ryan Butcher going to line up in 2nd, Matt Haas 3rd, Cody Lamas in 4th, Cole Baker is 5th. 6th is James Qualls, Nick Gunther 7th, 8th Charles Sanford, 9th is Jack Mitchell. And give a shout out there to Cody Smart. I know that we've talked about him a couple times here earlier on, but only really because he was either in wrecks or barely dodging wrecks, but he's done a great job here today. You know, all these other drivers, they were in the Daytona 500, so they got a little bit of an idea of how to race around each other. They're making their 2nd start on the season. Cody Smart's making his 1st start ever, and he's done a very good job despite the battle wounds that he bears on that number 95 Reese Chevrolet, still soldiering on inside of the top 10. There's a couple of teams as well that are doing really well today that needed good runs. One of them is the 11 team. Right now, Cole Baker in the 5th position, dead last in points. But also, how about Adrenaline Motorsports and that 0-1 team with Jack Mitchell? 25th in the points coming into this one. And he right now is running in the 9th position for this upcoming restart. We've also got that 32 of Benny Watson. Yes, he's been a moving chicane. Yes, he's been in a lot of people's ways. But if he had retired out of the race when he got that damage, he would be finishing this race around 27th, 28th. Right now, he is in line to finish at least 19th, which is about 8-9 points higher than where he would have finished it if he had retired earlier on this race. That's a pretty good net gain there for that team. Green flag set to come back out here with 18 laps to go. Can we get to the white flag here before we see the yellow once again? Part of me doesn't think so, but we'll see. Carson Gum, Ryan Butcher, they're going to pull away. Matt Haas and Cody Lamas, who are trying to see who has the worst looking back end. Going to be nose to tail for 3rd place. Cole Baker going to enter into this mix. Nick Gunther right there as well in the 55 as he's in 7th. James Qualls trying to reel him in for that spot. 3 wide ahead. Matt Haas having to back out of that one as he lost a ton of straightaway speed there. Baker and Lamas able to fly by him, so that back end damage might be really affecting the handling of the 8 car, especially on corner exit. Might be getting loose there coming off of 2 and 4, and that hurts his straightaway speed. As now Gunther, Qualls, and Mitchell, they're going to duke it out. That's going to be for the 6th position. Tim Walsh enters into this mix as well in the 15. Oh, a lot of contact there between Qualls and Nick Gunther. Cody Smart's going to take advantage as he'll move into the 9th spot. Tim Walsh, at a point in this race, had the most laps led. Now Carson Gum is the current lap leader. 20 laps led. Now make it 21 as he crosses the stripe. Ryan Butcher, though, not letting him get away. Ryan Butcher still looking for his first points pain win on the season. Of course, opened up the year with a win in the Clash, but that wasn't for points. That was pretty much a exhibition race, and of course locks him into next year's clash as well. Mitchell is continuing to fight his way up into the top 5 as the caution flag is out. And it's Joshua Osborne in the 27. Somebody else was in this as well. Levi McIntyre. A couple of Fords got together there, bringing out yet another late race yellow. So caution out, another restart coming up. And this one, if I'm not mistaken, will be in the 10 laps to go range. I should think. So we should not have the lap machines on the inside line for the upcoming restart. Well, we're not going to see anybody coming to pit road this late in the race if they didn't come to pit road 2 cautions prior. So let's go back and take a look at the replay of what brought out the 10th caution of the day. I believe this is the first race to hit double digits in caution count as well. I have to check back on that, but I do believe that is the case. A lot of Fords all together here around the 12th position. And we've seen this quite a bit here today with drivers trying to pinch and squeeze each other. And this time it's Joshua Osborne trying to squeeze Levi McIntyre to the outside wall. And he got a little bit of an assist there with that spin as well from Trey Wright in the 38, who did not lift, just kept his foot in the throttle and kind of punted the 27 around, kind of continuing his spin. Both drivers should be able to continue. I'm almost wondering here too, I'm not 100% certain what the next race is that all these drivers, the primary drivers, are going to be racing in, but I kind of wonder with a lot of the contact that's being exchanged here today if drivers are going to be remembering that in 3 weeks' time, and if we might be starting to see some rivalries begin to, maybe some embers begin to kindle here today at Atlanta, because there's a lot of contact that's been exchanged here today in some way, shape, or form. So, if my calculations are correct, we should be going back green with, it might be 11 laps to go. I don't know. We'll have to see when the lights go out top the pace car. If it's 11 laps to go, we're going to still have the lap cars in the inside line. If it's 10 laps to go, then they will all line up single file the way they are currently running. Lap cars will be intermingled with the lead lap cars. And it should give us a better opportunity to possibly finish this race under green flag conditions. If we end up having the double file restart, we may see another yellow flag before all is said and done. Nobody out of the race after that last incident. Joshua Osborne and Levi McIntyre still running, still on the lead lap. Phil Parker came back down pit road as they continue to probably see if they can get the roof out of the top of his helmet. As that car looks like it was landed on by a couple of anvils. The roof completely caved in, but still going. Still on the lead lap, amazingly enough, in the 18th position. We've only got one lap machine, that being Benny Watson, 2 laps down. Dylan Young was the other one earlier on in restarts, but he is out of the race. So 19 cars right now are scheduled to finish this race, which, consider the fact that we've been under the caution now for 10 times and a total of 42 laps. The fact that we've only got 9 drivers in total back in the garage area, that's pretty amazing. So let's observe the drivers up here right now that have a shot of going to victory lane. Carson Gum, right now the race leader, looking for his 2nd Atlanta win. Ryan Butcher in 2nd. Cole Baker 3rd. Cody Lamas in 4th. And Jack Mitchell in 5th. Tim Walsh right now is 6th. Matt Haas 7th. James Qualls 8th. Cody Smart 9th. And Nick Gunther completes the top 10. Amanda Evans right now in 11th. Trey Wright in 12th. Charles Sanford 13th. Michael Wayne Robinson 14th. Levi McIntyre 15th. Joshua Osborne 16th. Dylan Poteet 17th. And Phil Parker is 18th. Those drivers are on the lead lap. Based off of what I've seen on these previous restarts, it looks like the top 10, maybe 11, are the drivers that are up to speed that might have a shot at this race. The other drivers are basically battling for spots just outside of the top 10. Let me know here in the comments who you've got to win this race, as it will be officially 10 laps to go which means the Benny Watson car will line up single file back there between Michael Wayne Robinson and Levi McIntyre, the 14th and 15th place cars. It will be a complete single file restart here for hopefully the finish of this race. Again, appreciate everybody coming out here tonight to join us for the first race of the 2022 year. Race number 4 at Atlanta for Season 5 of the Duracell Cup Series. How is this crazy, bizarre race going to conclude? We're about to find out. Carson Gum leads us into the first data restart zone. Back through the gears we go. Are we racing to the checkered flag at this point in time? Baker will move by Butcher for second. Lamas looks to move to third. Didn't have the run there out of turn 2, though. Butcher's going to hang on, at least for the moment, into 3. As Baker now putting the pressure on Carson Gum. Near contact back there between Cody Lamas and Tim Walsh as Baker peeking. I think he's there to the left rear quarter panel of Carson Gum. Does Ryan Butcher help him down the back straightaway? A couple of Camrys. He'll dive to the inside, provide a little bit of a push, a little bit of a bubble to propel Cole Baker to the race lead. Near contact exchanged back there around the 5th position. They keep the fenders on. Oh, Mitchell gets turned up into the wall by Cody Lamas, but they're still facing the right way. There's no yellow. They ride the wall through 1 and 2 to Mitchell and Lamas. Lamas is still in the wall. No caution going to come out as both drivers still pointed in the right direction. No further contact with anybody else, so we still remain green. But that effectively takes Mitchell and Cody Lamas out of the mix. As Baker now out in front and in control. Butcher into second. Walsh looking for the spot in third. Carson Gum in fourth, and James Qualls now completes the top 5. Ooh, Walsh awfully close to left rear quarter panel of Butcher. Carson Gum in turn close to Walsh's left rear quarter panel off of turn number 4. Cole Baker out in front. Those 2 laps that he's led there are the only 2 laps he's led so far. Walsh gets sent to the apron by Carson Gum. He's going to go up to the outside wall. Still no caution as Tim Walsh drops back to around the 10th position. Now Qualls looks to the inside of Carson Gum. That's going to be for the 3rd spot. Correction, that's for 2nd place. These drivers are not giving an inch here today. It has been like bumper cars here in Atlanta. Carson Gum and James Qualls making contact. Haas gets sent up into the wall with Ryan Butcher. Did that bring out a caution? No, we're still green. Matt Haas and Ryan Butcher, a couple of Camrys getting together. Now they drop back. They're dropping like flies up here from the lead pack as Cole Baker, I don't even think he's looking in the rearview mirror, but if he is, he's got to have a smile on his face. I think his eyes are firmly out the windshield. He sees the smoke there into turn 1, I guarantee you. There's got to be some questions going through his head of what's been going on the last couple of laps. Carson Gum now to 2nd. James Qualls 3rd. Look who's up to 4th. Cody Smart in his debut race in the Duracell Cup Series. Amanda Evans is now up to 5th with Trey Wright in 6th. 3 laps to go this time by. Cole Baker gonna try and hold off Carson Gum. If these 2 mix it up, James Qualls could get up into the mix. Cody Smart could get up into the mix. 5th place battle is on. Trey Wright and Amanda Evans. Evans hangs on for the time being. Carson Gum is there. He is there. But does he have the momentum to get to Baker? I'm hearing slower cars up ahead. But would they be caught in these final 2 laps? That's Poteet and Watson. They are teammates to Carson Gum. Bear that in mind. They'll see the white flag this time. Cole Baker and a team that is dead last in the point standings, trying to hold off Carson Gum, the defending champion. White flag in the air. Carson looks to the inside. Baker makes contact with Carson, sends him to the apron. Carson pushes up the track. Baker, I think's got it. Baker, I think's got the momentum. He's holding him off. Carson's going to have one more shot here through 3 and 4. Cole Baker, half a car length between himself and the 19. Cole Baker's going to get it done. Cole Baker is going to get his first win of Season 5 in the Duracell Cup Series here today at Atlanta. The team that after 3 races comes into this one dead last in points is going to pick up the victory here today. Cole Baker out of TCW Racing gets his first win of the season in a nail-biter here today at Atlanta. And the 9 laps that he led today were all led in the final 10 laps of this race. Well, it took us a lot of carnage, a lot of cautions, and maybe a little controversy to get to this exciting finish, but man, it was worth the wait. Toyota, with their 3rd win in 4 races this season, the manufacturer that is vastly outnumbered to the Fords and the Chevrolets. And how about that? Baker and TCW Racing. It's going to be very interesting to see where they're situated in points after this one. Here's a look at the finishing results after everything we saw go down in that final 10-lap restart. Carson Gum will bring it home second. James Qualls will finish in third. That's another team that was struggling. 20th in points, that 17 team. They're going to get a podium finish here today. Amanda Evans with a great run in fourth. The 65 team, they were 17th in points, so that was a big needed run for them. Trey Wright in the 38 team, we told about them, 26th in points. They're going to get a good finish here today with 5th. And Cody Smart, what a debut for that driver here today. Kept his car out of trouble in the second half of this race, dodged some bullets earlier on. Yes, he was involved in a couple of the early cautions, but nothing really of his making, and he's going to finish 6th in his debut. Well done to him. Tim Walsh going to bring it home in 7th. Charles Sanford will get 8th. Ryan Butcher was 9th, and Jack Mitchell going to complete the top 10. Matt Haas finished it in 11th. Nick Gunther in 12th. Cody Lamas in 13th, Joshua Osborne 14th, and Michael Wayne Robinson in the 15th position. So with Haas, Gunther, Lamas, and Michael Wayne Robinson all finishing within, 5 positions of each other, that was your top 4 in the point standings as far as teams are concerned coming into this race. Carson Gum wasn't that far behind them. The 19 team was 17 points out of the points lead, so it may be very close between the top 5 in the point standings heading to ISM next week. Levi McIntyre will finish it out in 16th. Phil Parker in 17th. Dylan Poteet was 18th. Last car in the lead lap. Benny Watson finished the only car 1 lap down. 2 laps down in 19th. And then the rest of the drivers, you see there, finishing out of the race after 10 cautions here today. Dylan Young, Kyle Matthews, Pedro Lucas, Keith Batson, Carter Friesen, Andrew Lemke, Jesse Turner, Patrick Smith, Austin LaPlante. 3 of those drivers, former winners here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. A driver next season that'll be able to call himself a former Atlanta winner will be Cole Baker with his victory here today. First win of the season, 3rd win of the year for Toyota, and sets us up for a very interesting story scenario, both driver-wise and points-wise, into next week's race at ISM, and also in 3 weeks' time when all these drivers get back on track with each other once again. I think there's going to be a lot of hurt feelings and maybe some words exchanged after this race from driver to driver, team to team, and we'll see what the fallout's going to be when all these drivers get back on track in about 3 weeks' time. But thank you all for tuning into this rather lengthy race. Apologies for the fact that it was so caution-filled, but thank you for sticking around if you did till the end. Exciting finish here, certainly at the Atlanta Motor Speedway, and should be a good one heading into next week as well, as the secondary drivers will make their second start of the season at the desert of ISM Raceway. That's going to be next Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hope you guys join us for that. But thank you all for tuning into this race. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to give this video a like, subscribe, and become part of the crew today. We've shown you full results. You'll see your point standings next week during the pre-race of the ISM race number 5 of Season 5 of the Duracell Cup Series. Congratulations once again to Cole Baker on the victory here tonight at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. And until next time, I've been Seth Cole, and you've been watching another broadcast courtesy of the NNSCRA, offline racing at its best.